Hello friends, this is Dr. Amarjeet Kaur. This is my privilege. I am here with you to talk about problem solving strategies. So friends, problem solving is required by each one of us in our lives. Either we are working in industry or we are working at home, wherever we are, we come across problems in our day-to-day life. Beginning from deciding what to cook in the lunch, what to eat in the lunch, what not to eat in the lunch, how to gain weight, how to lose weight, all those small problems, which means if we have some goal and we are not sure about the process to follow to achieve that goal, that is what the problem is, right? So we have not, so the process is not obvious to achieve that goal, process is not known to achieve that goal is a problem. So learning how to solve those situations or those problems becomes imperative, pivotal for all of us. So that's what the problem solving requires, and that is why we all need to learn strategies to deal with such situations. So I'm going to discuss couple of strategies or steps in fact in problem solving. So let's deal with them. Number one, define the problem. Number two, visualize the problem. Number three, draw a diagram of the problem. Number four, break the problem into smaller pieces. Number five, redefine the problem. Number six, collect and organize information. Number seven, work backward. Number eight, use the Kipling method. Number nine, use your past experience. Number 10, bring a facilitator. Number 11, consider the trial and error approach. Number 12, develop a decision matrix for evaluation. Number 13, ask your peers for help. Number 14, step away from the problem. And the last step is record successful strategies. So I am going to discuss these 15 strategies for problem solving. So the first, as I said, is defining the problem. So when I say defining the problem, it doesn't mean just saying that X thing has happened or X issue is there. We have to be very conscious while defining the problem, because certain issue which seems like is an issue could be a superficial one, may not be the real issue, may not be the real problem, right? For example, rains have happened in the last few days in NCR area and we saw a lot of waterlogging around. So people may say rains have happened, the rains are the issue. No, the problem is not the rain. Problem is our unpreparedness, our ill defined infrastructure, ill prepared infrastructure, not cleaning or not upkeeping of the infrastructure. So those could be the problems, but not the rains itself, right? So I hope you could understand. We have a waterlogging and we are saying rains is the problem. Rains is not the problem. Problem is something else. We do not have a good system. We do not have a good system in place. We do not have clean sewages. We do not have maybe planned sewages, or sewage line is not there at all. So those could be the issues, but those are the problems, not that the rains are the problem. So defining the problem is a mental process, right? So we have to be very careful in defining the problem, because if we are unable to define the problem correctly, there is a likelihood that we will end up suggesting a wrong solution, because the problems defined was incorrect, right? So the first strategy to learn while developing this problem solving skill is to be able to be careful about the problem itself, defining the problem itself. The second is visualizing the problem. Then once you have defined this is the issue, then try to visualize it. So this has happened and this has connection with this aspect which led to this issue, that issue led to this issue, and finally that problem has popped up. So there are many dots. So we shall be able to connect those dots in our mind, which is what we call as visualizing the problem. So it's very important, because you cannot end up finding a solution to a problem unless you are able to visualize all aspects of the problem. So first was to define the problem itself, and then to visualize the various aspects of the same problem. Then the third is that we should try to draw a, we should learn as a strategy to draw a diagram of the problem. So it could be known as, taken as a flow chart, that we are drawing a diagram, and where we are writing this happened, this led to this led to this. So there is a complete flow chart, so that the people who are going to get involved in finding a solution to that problem, they have a clear picture, right? And not only that, the person who is defining the problem, if he or she uses a flow chart or a diagram, it really helps identifying the problem in itself. Then of course the finding a solution becomes more easy, because you will be able to visualize all aspects of the problem by using a diagram. So this is a good approach to learn, how to solve a problem. The fourth aspect is that then we prefer to break the problem into smaller pieces. As I said, the example of heavy rains, we say rains caused waterlogging, rains caused jam. No, it was not the rains which caused the jam, right? It was the underpreparedness of the municipal corporations of different cities, or negligence of different bodies who are supposed to be cleaning the sewages on time, underpreparedness of the infrastructure, inappropriate infrastructure, inappropriate development, unplanned development. So we can divide the problem of waterlogging into smaller pieces, right? So this much centimeter of rain doesn't cause any waterlogging or any kind of jam, because our infrastructure, our sewage can drain this much level of water. Well, so what I am doing, I am dividing the problem into smaller pieces. So does this much rain cause waterlogging, or that much? That is aspect, visualizing the whole problem. But when we are breaking down, we are breaking into many aspects. So be it the time period, be it the involvement of different bodies or people, or different aspects of the problem itself. Then we redefine the problem. So once we have broken the problem into smaller pieces, the next thing is we now will define in our own way. Initially it was, maybe the problem was defined by the person who was facing the problem, but now the team which is solving the problem, trying to solve the problem, they shall be defining in their own way that this is the problem. So after visualizing effectively, after drawing it on a diagram, and then dividing this problem into smaller pieces, the end result would be the team which is, or the person who is trying to solve the problem, will be ending up redefining the problem. So this was not the issue. Rain was not the issue of waterlogging, but the sewage, unclean sewage, or insufficient sewage system could be. So we are redefining the problem by saying this is the issue. Then the point number 6 is that collect and organize the information. So number 6 is that once we have redefined the problem, we should be collecting and organizing that information. That information could be pertaining to, what was the, if we take the example of rains only, what was the quantum of the rain, how many millimeter rain has happened, which time of the day the jams are higher, which part of the cities we have more waterlogging or jams. So what we are doing, we are trying to collect the information and organize it under various subheads. So if you remember, we divided the problem into many parts. So we are trying to gather, collect and organize the information for each aspect. So gathering information for each aspect is as important as dividing the problem into smaller pieces. And then we start working backward. This happened, prior to that this happened, prior to that that has happened, and then we go back. So we keep, and this is how we reach to the root cause, right? So we always need to work backward to identify the real problem. So that's why I said rains seems to be superficial cause, which is not. So when we start working backward, we will find the real cause of the problem. And then it is said that use the Kipling method, which is a very effective method of solving a problem, identifying the problem, right? So Kipling method is an interesting method to use for, it's one of the strategies to learn in, for professionals. Then one should use the past experience along with the Kipling method. The pragmatic approach is also very important. One can use the past experience that this had happened in the past, and do we have the similar situation? If not, then how it is different a bit, if it is, how much different it is from the previous problem, and is there anything which we can connect and learn from the previous example. So we should use our past experience, but broadly we have to focus again on the issue, but we cannot ignore what we have learned in the past. So it's very important that we pay attention to our experience. So let's say there was declining sales in a particular territory of different products a company is selling, be it we can assume North territory or the South territory, right? So now the other territory, let's say East territory, has starting facing the declining sale, the same problem. So my past experience when I dealt it with declining sales in North India, now we are as a company facing declining sales in East India, right? So the person, the team which is now looking at this issue, the problem of declining sales is certainly a problem for a company, right? Because sales affect our revenue, revenue affects our profit, profits affect our share prices, affects our stock prices, affects so many more expansion, so many more things, right? So as a manager or the team which is solving this problem of declining sales in East India has a reference point to look at the declining sales of North India, which happened in some time in the past. So what will happen? So you are referring to your past experience. You may not use the same technology. You may consider various points which are new to this situation, especially the cultural points. The North India culture and the East India culture is different, and very significantly they are different. We cannot ignore. So that's why we said that we have to visualize the problem incomplete. But nevertheless, there could be certain points which are similar in two situations: declining sales in the north in the past and now in the current at East India, right? So we can use a pragmatic approach. We can try to figure out, is there any relevance which we have in the present situation and in the past situation, and we can connect the dots and use that learning, that solution from the previous experience to this situation. And then we can actually try to bring in a facilitator, somebody whom everybody would listen to, somebody who is technically sound, somebody who has knowledge. So we could not, if we try to solve the problem at our own, but we should be open to bring in a facilitator who help us solve the problem, who really facilitates to find a solution. It could be a technical guy, it could be consultant, it could be a freelance guy, it could be a regular employee, it could be somebody from other department, whomsoever we think can actually facilitate to solve the problem should be brought in. We should not be reluctant in bringing in another or somebody from the outside, because there is a heavy cost involved. you may ignore, you may think, no, I shall be, you may take it as an ego that how can I involve somebody from the outside? I should be solving this problem. And we have seen this many a time. People take it to the ego that I cannot solve, I cannot solve this problem with someone's help. I should be solving it at my own or with the help of my own team. People are so much reluctant in involving facilitators, which is a wrong thing. People should understand the importance of involving facilitators, and that is another strategy to look at and solving the problem. Now, coming to point number 11, consider the trial and error approach. It's nothing wrong, because no solution which we may propose will prove an effective one, right? So, be open to the approach that we will try this solution which we are thinking is the good one, is the correct one, but if it does not work, we should be open to go and try the another approach or another solution, right? So, that much flexible mindset is required. As I said, the problem solving is a mental process. So, we cannot restrict ourselves to only one problem or one approach, that this is the only approach, this is the only way to solve, there is nothing else. Then this is going to prove very fatal for anybody if somebody considers that this is the approach and the only approach, right? So, one should be open to trial and error approach, where one can take a trial using one particular approach or one particular solution, problem gets solved, is good. If not, then try the another approach, try the another solution, and that is how this is also a strategy to solve the problem. Then point number 12 in the problem solving strategy is that we should develop a decision matrix for evaluation. Matrices always help. The good companies, the good teams which really are working very professionally, very efficiently, they always believe in developing matrices. So, these matrices really help us to evaluate the decision. So, we decided this particular solution to a particular problem, did it work or not? So, we are using a matrix that how as per the matrix, that matrix, how much difference could we see, how much to what extent could we curb the problem, right? Ultimate solution was to provide the ultimate concern was to provide the solution to the problem. So, by curbing the problem, so to what extent could we curb, but to what extent we could ensure that it will not happen again, right? We could stop the future occurrence. So, we should have that matrix for evaluation, at the first instance, curbing that problem, then not letting it go further, and then not letting it happen ever again. That is the ultimate evaluation of the success of any particular strategy, right? So, coming to point number 13, that we should ask our peers for help. If we, after a lot of work or struggle, if we are unable to solve the problem, nothing wrong asking your peers, people who are working in the same department, same product line, same team, or people who are from the outside, the other teams in the same organization. So, peers could be from other organization. So, for example, you are facing of declining sales, and there is another company which is also working in the same area, be it East India or any part of the country. So, you can discuss the issue with others and can understand what is their stand on that, how did they or how are they dealing with the similar situation, or how did they actually deal with it, how did they deal with it successfully. So, we can ask for the peers help. There is nothing wrong in seeking help from peers, because more the people, merrier it is. This is how they say. Now, we do not want to mess up, of course, but does not mean we should not involve concerned people or peers who have some idea about the problem. Point number 14 is the step away from the problem. If after all the efforts we are not able to solve the problem, then take a step backward and step away from the problem. That is the way. When after a lot of struggle you are still, whatever the solution you are providing is not working, is failing, you see this hasn't worked, that hasn't worked, that hasn't worked, then it means you need to redefine the problem, you need to re-look at the problem. Maybe you made a mistake at the step number 1 in defining the problem, right? To step back, step away from the problem and then take a break for some time and then re-look at the problem. So it's not that all the solutions you are providing may work. There could be a situation that solution you are providing, after even hit and trial, you are giving one after the another solution, but still the problem gets unresolved, right? So in that case, it's better to step away and then to relook at the problem, and especially the first step, which was to define the problem, should be visited again. The example we took of the rains, right? And we said sewage is the problem, but maybe the height of the road was an issue, right? We just concluded the sewage is the issue or the bad so it was actually the infrastructure development. It was maybe the engineering problem, then the sewage or cleaning problem. The flyover or the tunnel was designed without having the exits of the drainage system in itself at all. So it was infrastructure development issue, not the drainage issue. It was not the cleaning issue, for example. It was just the development of the infrastructure, the ill design of the infrastructure. A similar way there could be, for declining sales, we could have thought of the situation, this is happening and we tried one method, one solution, second solution, and still our sales are not rising. So we need to go back and see, is this the real issue? Is it the culture issue? Is this the competitors, or is something wrong is happening? Somebody is selling, or is this the distributor who are causing, who are having some malpractices? They are replacing our products. They are, to promote the, competitors' product. They are kind of, selling some wrong product on our behalf, some duplicate product with inferior quality. Then we need to look at many more aspects. There could be any malfunction, there could be any fraudulent practice, So it's not that always we have the one way to look at. We should step away if the problem is still not getting resolved. The last point is that we should record successful strategies. After all these steps which we have taken, and at the end, after redefining, after taking a step, finally if we have provided solutions to the problem, it's always recommended to keep a record of what has worked well, what has not worked well, right? Because if you have to try another, another process, another solution, it means you were hitting, or you are following hit and trial. So if first trial hasn't given you success, you opted the second one. So what was the outcome of the second solution, implementing the second one? What was the solution of implementing the third one? So we keep on, because we tried a couple of solutions, right? So if you as a team leader or the problem solver record all outcomes for various solutions which you used, you shall be able to refer it back, look it back whenever similar kind of situation occurs. And also, there is a likelihood that you were a team leader, you moved away from the organization. So anybody who is a, who takes over the charge in place of you can also refer to. So that work which has been done in the past doesn't go unnoticed. It is there in the written and becomes a reference point. So it's very important to keep record of those policies which worked, those solutions which worked well. So with this, I hope you could understand the importance of problem solving strategies and all the steps in the problem solving strategies which we discussed. So with this, I would like to thank you all and time to sign off. Thank you, friends.